Imagine sitting on a wooden bench in a quiet town in America. The sun is setting. People are talking around you. You hear English everywhere. Some words you understand, some you don't. You want to join the conversation. You want to laugh at the joke. You want to tell your story. But the words feel far away. Now imagine something different. Instead of memorizing grammar rules from a heavy book, you listen to a simple story. A story about a boy who moved to a new town. A story about a woman who started her first job. A story about someone just like you. And suddenly, English doesn't feel like a subject. It feels like life. This documentary is about learning English through stories. Not pressure, not fear, not perfection, but stories. Lesson 1. Why stories change everything. Since childhood, you learned through stories. Before you understood grammar, you understood characters. Before you studied vocabulary, you understood emotion. Stories teach naturally. When you hear, Tom walked into the store and felt nervous, you don't need translation for every word. Your brain connects meaning through context. That is how real language learning begins. Lesson 2. Meet Daniel. Daniel grew up in a rural farming community. English was not the main language in his home. When he moved to a bigger city for work, he felt lost. In meetings, people spoke quickly. On the bus, conversations moved fast. He knew basic words, but he could not connect them smoothly. One evening, instead of studying grammar rules again, he listened to a short beginner story in English. It was about a young man starting a new job. The sentences were simple. The emotions were real. For the first time, Daniel didn't feel stupid. He felt involved. Lesson 3. The power of simple sentences. Beginner stories use short sentences. Anna wakes up early. She drinks coffee. She feels nervous about her first day. These sentences are not complex, but they are powerful. When you understand complete ideas, your confidence grows, and confidence is fuel. Lesson 4. Learning without translation. When Daniel first listened to stories, he tried translating every word. He became tired quickly. Then he changed his method. He listened for meaning, not perfection. If he understood 60%, that was enough. Over time, his brain stopped translating. It started understanding directly. That is a major step in fluency. Lesson 5. Emotion helps memory. Why do you remember a sad movie scene for years? Because emotion strengthens memory. When stories include feelings like fear, hope, excitement, and courage, your brain remembers the language connected to those emotions. If a character says, "I believe in myself," and you feel inspired, those words stay with you. Lesson 6. Rural, local, and city voices. English sounds slightly different in different places. In a small town, speech may be slower and softer. In a big city, it may be faster and sharper. Through stories, you can experience different voices safely. You train your ears step by step. Listening becomes easier over time. Lesson 7. Repetition without boredom. Repeating grammar drills can feel boring. Repeating a story feels different. The first time you listen, you understand little. The second time, you catch new details. The third time, you begin predicting sentences. Repetition builds strength quietly. Lesson 8. Meet Aisha. Aisha worked at a grocery store. Customers spoke quickly. She answered with short phrases only. At night, she listened to beginner English stories for 15 minutes. She repeated sentences out loud. One day a customer asked, "How long have you worked here?" Before, she would have frozen. This time she answered, "I started 6 months ago. I like it here." It was not perfect, but it was progress. Lesson 9. Speaking through story retelling. After listening to a story, try retelling it in your own words. The story is about a girl. She moves to a new school. She feels scared but makes a friend. Even simple retelling builds speaking ability. You are not memorizing. You are creating. Lesson 10. Vocabulary and context. If you memorize the word nervous alone, it is easy to forget. But in a story where a character says, "I feel nervous before my interview," the word has life. Context gives vocabulary meaning. Lesson 11. Building confidence. Slowly. Daniel did not become fluent in 1 month. But after 3 months of daily stories, something changed. He started understanding conversations on the street. He recognized phrases from the stories. Language moved from the page into real life. Lesson 12. Listening like a child. Children listen thousands of hours before speaking clearly. As an adult beginner, you can speed up the process, but you still need exposure. Stories provide safe, controlled exposure. Lesson 13. Mistakes are natural. When Aisha tried retelling stories, she made grammar mistakes. Instead of quitting, she kept going. Each mistake showed her what to improve. Mistakes are teachers. Lesson 14. Pronunciation through imitation. Choose one short story. Listen to one sentence. Pause. Repeat exactly the same rhythm and tone. You are not copying forever. You are training your mouth. Lesson 15. Small daily habit. 15 minutes every day is powerful. 5 minutes listening. 5 minutes repeating. 5 minutes speaking. Consistency changes identity. Lesson 16. Understanding before speaking. Many beginners feel pressure to speak immediately. But strong listening creates strong speaking. If you fill your mind with clear English stories, words will come more naturally. Lesson 17. From fear to participation. Daniel once avoided office conversations. After months of story practice, he joined a small discussion. He did not speak perfectly, but he spoke. That was victory. Lesson 18. Story structure teaches grammar. Naturally, stories show past tense naturally. She walked. He decided. They learned. You absorb patterns without memorizing long rules. Lesson 19. Imagination expands language. When you imagine scenes in your mind while listening, your brain connects language to images. This strengthens understanding deeply. Lesson 20. Community through stories. Stories connect people. If you and a friend listen to the same story, you can discuss it. What did you think? Why was he afraid? Conversation grows naturally. Lesson 21. Confidence in public spaces. Aisha started greeting customers with more complete sentences. Her manager noticed, confidence changes how people respond to you. Lesson 22. From beginner to independent learner. After months, Daniel no longer needed only level 1 stories. He felt ready for more. Growth feels quiet at first, then suddenly obvious. Lesson 23. English as identity expansion. Learning through stories does not erase who you are. It adds another voice to your life. You can tell your own story in English. Lesson 24. Breaking the fear of accents. Through listening to many voices in stories, you realize something important. There is no single perfect accent. Clarity matters more than imitation. Lesson 25. Patience wins. Some days you will feel slow. Some days you will feel strong. Keep going. Lesson 26. Your first real conversation. The first time you understand a full conversation without translation feels powerful. That moment is built from many small listening sessions. Lesson 27. Becoming the story. One day, you are not just listening to stories. You are living one. The story of someone who started as a beginner and refused to quit. Lesson 28. The long road is normal. Fluency is not a weekend project. It is a journey. But every journey moves one step at a time. Lesson 29. Your Voice Matters English is not about sounding American or British. It is about expressing your ideas clearly. Your experiences deserve language. Lesson 30. The real transformation. Daniel and Aisha did not become different people. They became stronger versions of themselves. They learned through stories. They practiced daily. They acted despite fear. A beginner is pressing play on a simple English story. Maybe that beginner is you. You do not need perfect grammar today. You need commitment. Listen daily. Repeat bravely. Speak even when your voice shakes. 1 year from now, you will look back at this moment and realize something powerful. This was the beginning of your story. And your story in English is just getting started. Lesson 31. The quiet struggle. No one sees. There is a moment many English learners experience but rarely talk about. You understand more than you can speak. You sit in a room, following the conversation in your mind, but your mouth stays silent. People assume you don't understand. But inside, you are translating, organizing, preparing. This stage is not weakness. It is growth happening quietly. When you learn English through stories, you strengthen this silent stage. You feed your understanding. And one day, the silence breaks. Lesson 32. Listening for meaning, not perfection. When beginners hear fast English, they panic. They think, I missed one word, I missed everything. But real listening is different. Imagine hearing a story. Jake missed the bus, so he decided to walk to work. Even if you don't know the word decided, you understand the situation. He missed the bus, he walked. Meaning is more important than every word. Stories train your brain to stay calm and follow the big picture. Lesson 33. How stories build natural grammar. If you hear, she goes to school every day. Many times in stories, your brain absorbs the pattern. You begin saying, he goes, she works, without memorizing complicated explanations. Grammar becomes familiar instead of frightening. This is how children learn. Repetition inside stories creates instinct. Lesson 34. Meet Carlos. Carlos moved to a mid-sized American city for construction work. He worked long hours. He felt too tired to study grammar at night. One evening, instead of opening a textbook, he played a short Level 1 story on his phone while eating dinner. The story was about a man building his first house. The vocabulary was simple. The sentences were clear. Carlos felt connected. He wasn't just learning English, he was listening to someone who felt like him. Lesson 35. Learning in small spaces. You don't need a classroom to learn English. You can listen while cooking, while walking, while sitting on a bus. Stories fit into real life. That flexibility makes consistency possible. Lesson 36. Speaking to yourself is powerful. After Carlos listened to a story, he started talking to himself. The man in the story is tired. He works hard. He saves money. It felt strange at first, but this private practice removed fear. Speaking alone builds courage for speaking in public. Lesson 37. The confidence curve. At the beginning, progress feels slow. You listen and think, I still don't understand everything. But after weeks of daily exposure, you suddenly notice something. You understand more than before. You recognize phrases. Progress in language is not always visible daily. It appears over time. Lesson 38. Why stories reduce fear. Textbooks often show isolated sentences. Stories show human situations. When you follow a character through challenges, you forget your fear of grammar mistakes. You focus on what happens next. That emotional focus lowers anxiety. Lesson 39. Pronunciation through story, echoing. Choose one short paragraph from a beginner story. Listen carefully. Pause. Repeat with the same speed and emotion. If the character sounds worried, you sound worried. If the character sounds excited, you sound excited. Emotion improves pronunciation naturally. Lesson 40. Meet Hannah. Hannah lived in a small rural town. She felt embarrassed speaking English because everyone around her spoke fluently. She began listening to Level 1 English stories every night before sleeping. One day during a community event, someone asked her about her hobbies. Instead of answering with one word, she said, "I like reading stories in English because they help me understand people." It was a simple sentence, but for her, it was huge. Lesson 41. Building vocabulary without stress. When you hear the word journey in different stories, you slowly understand its feeling. It is more than travel. It is progress. It is growth. Stories repeat important words naturally. That repetition builds deep memory. Lesson 42. From listener to storyteller. After months of listening, Hannah tried something new. She wrote her own short story in simple English. "My name is Hannah. I live in a small town. I want to learn English because I want to travel." Her grammar was not perfect, but she was no longer only a learner. She was a creator. Lesson 43. Understanding fast English. At first, normal conversation feels too fast. But if you train your ears with slow beginner stories, then medium-level stories, your listening muscles grow. Just like lifting weights, you increase difficulty slowly. Lesson 44. The emotional breakthrough. One evening, Carlos watched a short video in English without subtitles. For the first time, he understood almost everything. He smiled. No one else saw that moment, but it changed him. Lesson 45. Why you must stay consistent. Missing one day is normal. Quitting is different. Stories make it easier to return because they are enjoyable. Enjoyment creates discipline. Lesson 46. Learning through characters like you. When beginner stories show characters working hard, feeling nervous, trying again, you see yourself. Representation builds motivation. You think, if they can improve, I can too. Lesson 47. Fluency is not speed. Speaking fast does not mean speaking well. Clear, calm speech is more powerful. Stories teach rhythm, not just speed. Lesson 48. The day fear shrinks. There will be a day when someone speaks English to you unexpectedly, and you respond without panic. Your heart will not race. You will answer naturally. That day is built from hundreds of small listening sessions. Lesson 49. Turning passive listening into active learning. Don't just listen once. Listen again. Ask yourself simple questions. Who is the story about? What problem did they have? How did they solve it? Answer in simple English. This transforms you from passive listener to active learner. Lesson 50. The long-term vision. Imagine yourself 1 year from today. You walk into a workplace meeting. You understand the conversation. You share your idea. You travel and ask for directions confidently. You watch a movie without fear. All of that begins with simple Level 1 stories. Lesson 51. The hidden advantage of beginners. As a beginner, you focus on basics. Strong basics create strong fluency. Advanced learners often struggle because their foundation is weak. Your slow beginning is your advantage. Lesson 52. English as a tool, not a test. You are not learning English to pass a test forever. You are learning to live more fully. Stories show English as life, not exam questions. Lesson 53. Becoming comfortable with imperfection. Even native speakers make grammar mistakes. Communication matters more than perfection. Stories teach flow, not fear. Lesson 54. Your story matters too. One day, you will tell someone, "When I started learning English, I was afraid." And you will smile, because you will remember how far you came. Lesson 55. The decision that changes everything. At the end of every documentary, there is a turning point. This is yours. You can close this video and say, maybe tomorrow. Or you can decide, today I begin seriously. Listen to one story tonight. Repeat 5 sentences. Speak out loud. Small actions create large change. A beginner presses play on a simple English story. That beginner is not weak. That beginner is brave. Because learning a new language means choosing growth over comfort. It means accepting mistakes. It means believing in future strength. Learn English through stories. Let characters guide you. Let repetition train you. Let emotion move you. And one day, you will not just understand English stories. You will tell your own story in English, clearly, confidently, and proudly. Your journey begins now.